Did you know I can't retire on the moon? And did you know that you can't retire on the moon either? At least right now. And I know that's a weird problem to have. It's 2024. There's a million other things going on. But I really got thinking about retirement the other day, and I thought to myself, man, where would I want to retire? Where would I want to be when I am retirement age? And the moon, weirdly, came to mind. Now, why? I don't know. I maybe want to live out my dreams of being an astronaut once upon a time. But I got thinking about it a little bit more, and I realized, oh no, wait, there's some good reasons to retire on the moon. Now, what are those good reasons to retire on the moon? For me, it's actually three things. First, it is the views. Think about the views. Silver Age, Silver Planet. And you would be able to look out at this blue-green marble that is Earth for basically the rest of your days, however many that might be. It would be lovely, and personally, I feel it would be so relaxing. Secondly, is the gravity. When you're old, have old age, your bones begin to become a bit brittle. Your joints become to get a little arthritic. And because of that, you would benefit from actually having less gravity pulling on your body at that age. The moon is only 1/6 the gravity of that of Earth. Thus, you would have 1/6 the weight that you are here on Earth on the moon, and making for a far, far more pleasurable experience aging into your silver years. 3, ironically, is radiation. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a benefit, but it actually is. Believe it or not, one of the big issues with space settlement in general is radiation and the subsequent cancer that can cause over the long term. Well, fun fact, if you're only living on the moon during your retirement years, which statistically is in the neighborhood of 10, 20, 30 years at best, the odds of you developing cancer enough to kill you is statistically incredibly slim. So, weirdly enough, radiation or the lack of its effects on your aging body because you're already at the end of your life is a benefit. Now, what would it take then to achieve these benefits and actually retire on the moon? In my mind, we actually already have the technology today to do that. ESA has developed multiple concepts regarding what they call the Lunar Village. And this Lunar Village is a place where scientists would go and researchers and even potentially tourists to basically spend time on the moon. I know that sounds a little redundant, but it would be for scientific experiments, it would be for lunar settlement and really space settlement technology demonstrators and testing. It'd be a cool little village, pun intended. Now, where this gets interesting is if you wanted to settle the moon as a person, as a sole proprietor, somebody with a lot of money, you know who you are, and you could do it, actually. It would not be that hard. All you would need is a bunch of Falcon Heavy rockets, the ability to move hundreds, if not thousands of tons of material to the moon in a timely manner, and you would be able to build a retirement center on the moon. Now, yes, things get a little tricky when you begin to think about, where are you going to live? Lava tubes? I don't know. There's a lot of options, and I'll cover that in a later video. Now, obviously, you will need to build out some sort of transport architecture. One could argue you could simply buy a whole bunch of Falcon 9 or Falcon Heavy rockets and just begin to ship things to the moon. The problem is the ability for mass to not only exit Earth's orbit, beyond Earth orbit, and go to the lunar surface, there's pretty high delta V requirements, and thus you end up running into some mass restrictions, I would say. That would involve you having to launch a lot of rockets to get out there. But as the cost of rockets is coming down ever so steadily, and with the soon, I hope, launch of Starship from a production standpoint, sky's the limit. Literally, sky is the limit. You'll be able to move hundreds of tons per mission and be able to get to tens of thousands of tons in just a matter of months, which will be amazing. And I think it was what will be required to not only settle the moon, but for those who have the money and the resources, you know who you are, to also retire on the moon. And weirdly enough, retirees may become some of the first permanent lunar residents. Very weird thing to visualize in my head as I sit here on Earth, looking outside at the green and looking up at the moon. Outside of that, though, we do have all the technology required to keep humans like myself and like you alive on the moon. And we won't have to really fight with much because we've already figured out how to recycle water and how to recycle air and how to recycle kind of waste. And fundamentally, though, if we're not worried about self-sustainability from a closed biosphere's perspective, then screw it. Ship that stuff from Earth, right? Retirees were never really about sustainment anyway, right? But let me know. What do you think? Would you want to retire on the moon? Would you want to retire somewhere else, like Mars or Ceres or Titan? What are your thoughts on all this? Comment down below and let me know. I'm curious. Thanks so much, though, for watching through this tangent of what retirement on the moon might look like. I know it's weird and it's kind of an odd concept to think about, but mortality is something we will all inevitably deal with, and space settlement and space, basically adventures, you could argue, I feel like should be part of that. So if you like videos like this, check out my next video here. Obviously, do all the things for the YouTube algorithm, like, subscribe, and until next time, hopefully it's not as odd of a tangent as it is when it comes to space settlement from a retirement perspective. But you know, I really like to keep going beyond Earth orbit.